What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Widebody Nation. Down payments. Should you do a big down payment, a small down payment, no down payment? Well, obviously there's a lot of factors to answer that question, which I will address in this video. And honestly, I'm making this video because I get this question so often that I just want to have a video that I can send to you guys and that you guys can reference for your specific needs. And that could change over time because the market changes, your credit score changes, your income changes, your trade-in changes. So this video will be useful right now and in the future. With that being said, before we jump in, if you guys, I know you're already interested in MOPARs, most likely. If your MOPAR is not protected by this neutral strap cover, this is exactly how my 2021 Redeye was stolen. It was stolen because they broke into it, disconnected the battery, and then put my car in neutral and put it onto a tow truck. So that's the short of it. This is a $35 solution to prevent that. And if you use code WBN, that stands for Widebody Nation, obviously, you go to destroyer1320.com, you click on it, that he's got Challenger, Charger, and 300 as well. Add it to cart, put in code WBN, and you get a 20% discount. There you go, $14 off, and I have two in the cart right now because I was rehearsing the video. Right, so with that being said, DM me if you're having any issues, follow us on Instagram, you can direct message me there if you need to. With that being said, down payments, and down payments. The first thing I will get into is having a big down payment is a good thing because if you are able to put down a big down payment, that is a good thing because that means that you have the cash on hand if you're able to. Now, what you need to decide is if you should do that. And that's more in this video. I'm going to get into why you should or should not do a big down payment. And there's a lot of factors. So it is currently 2021. It's the end of October of 2021. As many of you guys know, there is barely any money off these new cars right now. Power Dollars is a skeleton of what it used to be. You know, that's a Halloween joke right there with the old skeleton reference. You know, Power Dollars, it used to be $10 a horsepower. Now it's $2 a horsepower, $3 a horsepower. It's tough out there. So first answer to your question is big down payment, small down payment, no down payment. For instance, Charger offers. If you can get 0% APR for 72 months, and I know some people don't like car loans or don't like long car loans, but hear me out. Why would you take out a car loan for 48 months at 2 or 3% interest rate if you could get 0% interest rate for 72 months? You can pay it off quicker, but get that 0% interest rate, my guy or girl, whatever it may be. So let's, for instance, go to the Redeye. The Redeye is 0% or only $2,000 off. Now, when I bought my car, it was $6,000 off, and the year before, it was $8,000 or $7,970 off because $10 a horsepower, right? Well, this is my first answer to you. If you can qualify for the 0% financing for either a Hellcat, a Scat pack, they're doing it for both, or even, a GT or whatever it may. With the GT, they're even tossing you $750 off as well. So my first answer is you should not do a big down payment if you can qualify for 0%. Why would you do a big down payment? Why wouldn't you keep that money for an emergency fund, another investment in Bitcoin or stocks? That's kind of a joke. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just making a joke, but that's actually kind of serious. Or you could save it to get the car paint protected or put some wheels on it, whatever it may be. And that's up to you. But regardless of what you're going to do with that money, if you're getting the car for 0% interest, that is free loan money. Again, I'm not saying you should go take out crazy loans for every which way to Sunday, but a 0% on a collateralized loan, which is a car loan, is hard to argue with. 0% is great, especially right now when they're not giving you any cash off. You're buying an $80,000 car and Dodge is only giving you $2,000 off, and most dealers are charging between 2 and 10 and 20 grand over for a lot of these cars right now. The cars are selling themselves because of the chip shortage and other supply chain issues that you guys know. So if you can qualify for 0%, I would highly recommend a lower or no down payment. Now, that gets into like the second part of this video, and this video really has 3-ish parts. So we just knocked out the first one. If you can get a really low or no interest rate, I would recommend doing a low down payment. That's just me. That's my recommendation. That's what I usually tell people over Instagram when they DM me, because that's the best way to contact me. Part 2 of the video, credit score, because like I just said, you have to qualify for the 0%. In order to qualify for the 0%, I would, in my opinion, and I'm not a bank, I'm not a financial advisor, you're going to have to be in the 700s, whether it's 700 even or 760. Your score, your credit score is not just, it's not just a generic score. It's not just like a test score. There's so much more to your credit that the banks pull up than just the score. You could have a 720, but be able to buy a ton of things because your credit is deep and maybe you make a bunch of money, but you use your credit a lot. Or I know a lot of people, especially in the military, that have a good credit score, maybe a 750, a 760. I see a lot of 740s in the military, but they only use their debit card and they never had a loan before. So when they go to buy their first car that costs them 40, 50 grand, maybe a sports car, maybe not, they have trouble getting approved because the bank is just like, you got a good score, but there's no history, there's no depth to your credit. We can't really look at it and be like, well, yeah, he makes money and he's never messed up, but at the same time, he's never really had an opportunity to mess up, if you know what I mean. So, not to get down a rabbit hole, but if you cannot qualify, and we're still in part 2, if you cannot qualify for 0%, then this is where we got to start getting a little bit creative here. And just because you can't qualify for 0%, it's not a knock on you. You know, if your credit's in the 600s, or maybe if your credit's in, like I've been in the 700s before and not been able to qualify for something based on my debt to income ratio, because when I was doing Turo, I had so many cars that it looked like I was doing some extracurricular activities, if you know what I'm saying. So just because you have a good score doesn't mean you're necessarily going to qualify for 0% or for whatever loan you're trying to get, okay? So again, rabbit hole, but here's some options. So if you cannot qualify for 0%, obviously that is going to put you over into the cash allowance category, because the cash allowance is regardless of if you're going to buy the car, and you can buy the car, the cash allowance is not dependent on your credit score. The cash allowance is just money off the MSRP that you get off. You know, it's like straight up, Dodge is giving you $2,000 off. That's no skin off the dealer's back, okay? Here's where we start getting into less of a choice of yours and more of the bank / dealership forcing what you do with your down payment, okay? When you're at the dealership, if your credit score is not approving you for this 0% for 72, this is probably going to be when they start getting into the, hey, you're approved, but we are requiring a $5,000, a $10,000, a $15,000 down payment on whatever car. A lot of times with Scat packs, a lot of you hit me up, and let's just say your Scat pack isn't even $50,000, 50, 55, that's pretty middle of the road. A lot of banks are coming back and saying, hey, they want between 10 and 20% down, so $5,000 to $10,000, right? They're basically saying in order to get the loan, you have to do this. Now, a lot of times there's wiggle room. There's wiggle room on a lot of different fronts, but we're going to keep it to the down payment. So at that point, if they're telling you, if you want that exact car at that exact dealership, you're going to have to make a choice. If they say, hey, you have to do $10,000 down, and that was your max down payment, they're kind of making the choice for you. You're not as free as the beginning of the video, like when we talked about, oh, you're cruising in, you're sitting on $15,000, ready to throw that down, but then they're like, hey, we're doing 0% for 72, and you're like, oh, sweet, like I'll just do that and not put any money down, and say you have 780 credit score and you're just good to go, bang bang, walk out with your car. Kind of unrealistic, maybe not. But we're getting more into the unique, or not the unique, but the more specific situations to many people that, for one reason or another, they can't qualify for the 0% for 72 because the banks are pretty strict right now, if we're just being honest. They're strict, but they're also not strict in certain ways. I got to do another video on that, I guess. So, to end part 2, if you can't qualify for the rate you want, or 0%, the banks might just tell you how much you have to put down. Now, that kind of brings up one of the pros of the bigger down payment is the more you put down, the less your monthly payment will be and the less money you're really going to spend on interest. Now, there's many different ways to test out how much money you're going to spend on interest. You can use Edmunds.com. They have the low APR versus cash back calculator. So you can compare the interest rate, maybe like a 0% versus power dollars. They have just a normal auto loan calculator, which is good too. Or you can go to realwidebodynation.com, obviously. You go to resources and then the monthly payment calculator here. I have it hyperlinked, and that'll pop up this monthly payment calculator in Excel where you can put in the sticker price, your trade-in value, the taxes, all of that. And you can actually see interest rates from 0 to 8% and from 2 years down to 7 years, how much your monthly payment will be and how much interest alone you're paying it. Because this is the interest right here, just interest alone. So like if you did an 8% loan for 84 months, you'd pay $7,000 in interest on a $22,000 car. So that is a lot of interest, right? That's just an example. Someone was in here. You guys have been modifying this. It's fine with me. I reset it every now and then just so that people make sure the formulas are good and stuff. But yes. So the third part of this video, which is going to relate to this monthly payment calculator or any other monthly payment calculator. I mean, they have this part on Edmunds.com. I prefer Edmunds.com. I'm not really a Kelley Blue Book type of person. Okay, so we talked about 0% APR, and if you can't qualify that, then obviously you're going to take the power dollars or the incentive. If you're not talking Dodge, you're just taking the cash off, the consumer cash allowance, whatever they want to call it. Those marketing wizards up at corporate. Part 3 of the video. How to manipulate, how to finagle a better down payment without cash out of your pocket, because that's I'm trying to make sure you guys keep some cash on hand, right? Because if you want to get that nice car, you don't necessarily want to go from having a lot of cash to not, just to get that low monthly payment, right? So here's the thing. Right now, trade-in values they're actually farther than the moon. They were on the moon, and now they're actually farther. They're about on Mars at this point. Trade-in values are up an insane amount. I traded in my 2018 Charger Daytona. It was not a Scat pack. It was a Charger Daytona 340, so it has a 5.7. That car before the pandemic was worth in the low 20s, call it 22 to 25K. I traded in that car back in February for $33,000. I traded it in for 150% of the value. So 50% extra of the value because I bought a car at the dealership and because dealerships want your cars. Most people do not understand. It's hard for me to overstate how badly dealerships want you to go sell them or trade in your car. It's actually impossible to overstate it. So, if you have a car, whether you think you have equity in it, positive equity, whether you think you have negative equity, aka you owe more than it is worth, bring that car to a couple dealerships, do like CarMax, your local Dodge dealership, and then maybe a non-Dodge dealership. I think your socks are going to get knocked off by how much that car is worth in today's inflated dollars, okay? So, using, power dollars, using negotiating at the dealership, which we have other videos on that, but trading in your car right now is one of the best ways to both get out of a bad car loan and get into the car that you want and bringing it all together for a good deal potentially. So let me put it into example because I feel like maybe I lost some people. I mean, it's late in the video, but if you're still here, there's probably a reason you're still here. Let's say you had like a 2016 Nissan Altima and they got you good on the interest rate back when you got it. Say it had like a 10% interest rate, right? And up until 2020, you knew you were underwater on that car. You knew the car was worth 10 grand. Maybe it got into a fender bender, whatever. You knew the car was worth 10 grand, but you still owe like 15 on it or something like that. Nowadays, that car is worth way more. Again, it's worth way more. If you have not gotten your car valued recently, you are missing out on a big opportunity to sell your car at a profit potentially. So, let's say that car that you still owe 15 on, now it's 2021 and dealerships are literally out there begging for cars. Most new car dealerships are now used car dealerships for all intents and purposes. If you don't believe me, go to your nearest new car dealership and see how many new cars they have on the lot. I bet it's way less than they usually do. Let's say that car that you owe 15 on is now worth 18 grand. So that's netting you 3 grand in positive equity. So that's a down payment right there. Let's say you're buying a Redeye. You get your 2 grand off cash allowance. You get your 3 grand of positive equity. And in most states, that trade-in allowance is also non-taxable. So if you're in a state where the taxes are pretty high, 7-8%, if your trade-in value is 18 grand, beep boop bop boop, that's going to save you a little bit over $1,000 as well. So by trading in your car and taking power dollars, because maybe you couldn't get approved for the 0%, you have just created yourself basically a $6,000 down payment out of not really doing that much. That's without you having actually negotiated anything from the dealership either, because power dollars are from Dodge. They're not from the dealership. They're from Dodge. Your trade-in is your trade-in, and right now trade-in values are insane. If you think I'm annoying, it's because I cannot overstate how crazy trade-in values are. Go get your car valued. And third, there's tax benefits in most states to trading in your car, because in theory, you've already paid taxes on the car you're trading in, so I won't get down to that. But that is how we are going to round out today's video. I recommend a low down payment or no down payment if you're getting 0%. Then I recommend you're going to have to play, for part 2, you're going to have to play ball with the bank. If you're in a position where your credit's not as good or whatever it may be, and the bank is basically deciding your down payment for you, that's when you're going to have to say, okay, they want 10 grand. Do I want to do 15 because I want to save money on interest? That's up to you. Again, we have tools for that. Edmunds.com has some calculators, and realwidebodynation.com monthly payment spreadsheet. It's not just a calculator, it's a spreadsheet. So that's the answer to part 2. And I know these are not like written in stone answers. It's because people are so unique. So part 3, to round it out, trade-ins, my guys. Trade-in values are crazy right now. So that is one of the ways to get some tax savings, to get out of a car loan that you might have been maybe not so smart to get into, more or less, or maybe you needed the car. Again, not judging, just saying that this, if there was ever a time to be bailed out from a bad car loan that you made before 2020, it is now. And there you go. So with that being said, make sure you guys go follow us on or you don't have to follow us, but if you want to contact me about this video, you can follow us on Instagram. Messaging me is definitely the easiest way to go ahead and get direct feedback, because I can just pop you right back, boom, 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 either link you to a video or I can give you my actual opinion. My links to, for instance, destroyer1320.com, if you want Charger, Challenger, you can go on my Instagram, or you can go to destroyer1320.com. And again, this is probably the best $35 you will ever spend. Almost everybody I know now knows that you can steal these cars preposterously easy. And let's face it, these cars are so old that they're so easy to steal, and the engines are so easy to pull. I mean, my Redeye, maybe it's together, maybe it's not, but that engine's like a $30,000 engine from my Redeye that they just stole because all they did was pop the car in neutral, even though I have an automatic transmission car. And I know you guys talk about kill switches and security updates and trackers. All of those things that you just talked about do not prevent someone from getting in your car one way or another and putting your car in neutral and either pushing it away, towing it away, whatever it may be, away from your possession. And, you know, it's just better not to have your car stolen. Let's put it that way, okay? Because I would really like to have a Redeye still, but I don't. And it's really hard to buy one right now. So I don't know if I'm going to spend the money like that. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay safe out there. I mean, trying to help y'all stay safe with these theft deterrent systems, but hey, that's on you. I will be at Scary Fast in Memphis, Tennessee on the 30th, the weekend of the 30th. That is right here. I'm going to go ahead and not play that because that is probably going to get me a copyright. This is not a, there we go. So Scary Fast, it's at Memphis International Raceway. Tickets on demonology638.com. It's obviously on the 30th. It's from basically the whole afternoon into the evening. They're doing roll racing. They're doing drag racing. There's a car show. There's all the normal stuff. If you want to come say what's up, or if you want to come buy a neutral strap cover theft deterrent system in person, I will have about 20 of each there. And I might be able to hook you up with a deal in person. Plus, you'll get it from me to you. We can even show you how to install it right then and there. Toro 704 will be there with me. He'll be selling them with me as well as a little partner deal. And yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay safe out there. See you for the next video.